just putting together these little jigs. They come with the circuit and they allow you to fold and bend components and the wires. I've cut them out of 3mm ply, the lovely laser ply, and another beautiful use, or a use for the beautiful V-block. Line them up. This ply doesn't absorb much glue at all, super glue, so it's fine. If I just squeeze that in there and there, there you go, that's completely lined up. I could use PVA, but the super glue sticks this stuff absolutely perfectly. Also, very nicely, very kindly, someone who's one of the people who bought one of the kits, they said that they've found this subsequently, this jig, really useful as they've now got into building electronic kits. And I remember having one when I was little. I think it came with Everyday Electronics, a long gone magazine. I think actually it might still be around. Little plastic one, and it's so useful for getting wires bent because all electronics, or the vast majority, have holes that are 0.1 inches apart. And it just helps. So if I know I've got a resistor, say, that needs to be fit into 6 holes apart, I can just bend it over here, plug it in. Brilliant. Also, my bottles arrived and they are fantastic. In the last video, you know, in the past I've had to pay quite a lot for the PVA in these empty bottles, which I then filled and stuck the label on. They cost about £1.25. These ones, I think they're 25p. I was just so lucky that I decided to think outside the box, stop googling glue containers and bendy containers. Just happened to find the vaping containers, so you can put your own vaping liquid in, and they come with a little nozzle that you, once you've filled it, you can put on, and a childproof top lids. That's perfect, and they're squeezy and they're much more reasonable size. That's fantastic too. A couple of top tips here, so I thought it was worth mentioning. I've cut out these gears, and these gears are going to have a 13mm diameter bearing pushed into the middle to ensure that reduce the friction, so the clock movement can move all of the pointers and things. Now, laser cutters are very accurate, but when you want the tolerances to fit a bearing in, not quite that good. So I've cut these just oversize, and then I'll drill them out to 13mm. And the effect that has is just takes the paint off a little bit. You can see how little I've actually taken off. Just a bit of paint. Because laser cutters, the nature of them, the holes they cut and everything, slightly cone shaped. They're slightly in or out. I can't remember which way they work. I think slightly getting bigger and getting smaller in this case. So the bearing wouldn't necessarily fit. But having drilled it out, that will then push fit perfectly. And then, as you can see, there's 4 little dimples, and then the instructions say you just drip a little bit of super glue on each of those, it'll soak in and fix it permanently, and that's perfect. It's a 5mm deep bearing, 5mm thick acrylic. I'm using a beautiful cotton covered hand because I don't want to risk any oil from my hands getting onto the gear and then slowly discolouring the paint. It doesn't usually have very much of an effect, but it's just again reducing another potential error. The other thing worth mentioning is 13mm is quite a big hole. If you use a normal drill bit to try and drill plastic 13mm size, or anything probably over sort of 8 or 9, it has a tendency, because of the design of the cutting end of the drill bit, to snatch it, because it's actually biting bits out, designed for wood or metal. So it's actually scraping, cutting bits out. Each end is a bit like a knife. And if you've got a bit of plastic and you put that against it, it then just snatches it up, spins it round, ruins it very easily, unless you're quite lucky and grip this perfectly. Whereas for cutting metal, cutting plastic, if you grind off the 2 cutting ends, so they're not sharp, they're just flat scratching ends, it's perfect. It doesn't have any desire to rip this up, jump up or anything, and it always finds the centre very accurately. Never had an issue with that. Once I've got a hole cut on a laser cutter that's a bit smaller, the drill bit will always find it, and this is normal HSS drill bit. So I just ground it down specially for this, not to use for anything else really, and it works really well. Okay, thank you. And the other thing, this ply, the laser cutting ply, is brilliant. I haven't had any problems with inconsistencies at all. They are a little bit warped, as I said in a previous video, but I just tape them down around the edge with a bit of masking tape where they sort of spring up, get them flat, and the laser cuts the whole 600 by 300mm sheet absolutely perfectly. And I've designed them so I can get 2 complete kits out of each piece of wood, and it's brilliant. No problems with little bits not falling out because the wood's too dense in some places. Absolutely perfect. I can wholeheartedly recommend that, and that's what I'll be using from now on. There's all the other little bits that will cut out at the same time. Battery holders, a little tool to hold the oak knobs while you stain them, spacers, and a little pretend battery to connect the power supply to the clock movement, and they all cut out perfectly as well. Brilliant. I've just realised that I've got all the bits necessary cut out to put another one of the lot of packages together, all the wooden bits. I've got a nice big pile of 10 sets, 10 kits made there, and the rubber bands have now arrived. I've got the oak knobs and all the other bits. I've also realised I can put this package together, because this has got the engravings, and I've got 10 lots of engravings, and each of these, because of the quality of the kit, they're not just printed or anything, they're actually engraved, lightly cut out of proper engraving laminates, where you have a very thin layer of white on the front and a thick layer of black at the back, so the laser can engrave very precisely. I mean, yeah, look, so precise. I think that's sort of 1mm high font or something. It's amazing how accurate. So that's great. So I've got the 10 lots of that. Also, the other things for this part are the ornate copper metallic card background design, and a little thing cut out of the same stuff, a little spacing jig, so that as you assemble it you can get the spacing right, and the gears. And the gears are all ready to go as well. Fantastic. I do like putting these kits together. It's always very difficult sometimes not to just want to assemble them, because they're such fun to assemble, but it's almost as good putting them together. Having realised that this part of the kit actually needs end pieces for the Nempnett Thrubwell, I luckily found I had enough bits of wood left over, because obviously none of the wood yards are open with coronavirus, so I'm really pleased. I had enough, and an old floorboard and other bits and pieces, so because I needed 10 tops and 10 bottoms, put them through the table, the bench saw, which I've kept. It used to be indoors in here, but took up so much room that in the end I moved it outside under cover, and it's brilliant. It hasn't gone rusty or anything, and it's so useful. You cannot beat it for setting the width accurately on pieces of material, wood, and setting it with a parallel motion so you can saw the ends at a set distance, right through to the old floorboard I used was really warped, so I haven't got a planer and a thicknesser. So basically, by carefully sawing it, and luckily the blade sticks quite high up through the bed of the table, the bed of the machine, so it's parallel, so basically I could just run it through and it's acted as a planer thicknesser. What I'll do is to sand them all a little bit just to take off any cut marks. Luckily with these pieces of wood I had done a nice little engineering drawing. Very enjoyable, especially with CAD. I know the youth of today won't appreciate it, but in the old days when you had a huge A0 piece of tracing paper that you were doing engineering drawings on, make a mistake, you'd have to rub it out with a little rubber mask thing. If you suddenly decided that you'd made a big mistake, you'd have to start all over again, and dimensioning it all by hand, whereas with CAD it's just fantastic. With the dimensioning tool you can just click the cursor on that bit, drag it over where you want, and it'll tell you the length. So enjoyable. Same with diameters, same with everything. Really does make it very enjoyable, especially for those who remember the old ways of doing things. Now how to drill holes in each side, and in half of them a countersunk, counter-drilled hole. I know! A jig! Brilliant! I'm very pleased with this jig because you set it up until a 2mm drill bit fits through the little heel. Then you can tighten the G-clamp Now on half the pieces we need to have this counter-drilled hole through which you can put a M10 nut. This needs to have room for a beautiful brass M10 washer and a Munson ring. Munson rings, regardless of the diameter that they actually finally end up with the pipe that they're going to hold. These bits are always the same, which is handy as far as I know, and this is fine. I've put the 10mm twist drill bit in. Well, I've just tidied the workbench, so I've got room to put these kits together. Many people have asked why not have a larger workbench. It's a horizontal surface, and every horizontal surface in my workshop ends up like this. Even secondary horizontal surfaces get covered. So I decided early on just to have a really small workbench that I had to keep tidy. Got the first one together and it looks just like the photograph. Now before I package up the engravings I need to countersink them because the main clock dial needs to take 2 countersunk M3 screws. Don't want them to stand proud because otherwise the hand going round could knock into them. So I've set this up so I can easily do it. And the advanced retard label needs a very small little countersunk hole just to make this flush. The smallest brass screws I could get, and obviously they have to be slot headed because, as I said before, the Victorians didn't have posi drive. To redo this label so it'll fit on the smaller bottles. Just cut out the labels from an A4, a huge A4 sticky label. Now I need to put that into those with the lovely labels on, and that into those. And then we put the lids on, or the nozzles, lovely little push fit nozzles, and a lovely looking lid. Brilliant. So you have to push it down to open it. 30. I'll cut the nozzle down a bit as well to stop it clogging. Put the lid on. Nice and firmly so it doesn't leak out. That's it. Fabulous. Got that all packaged up beautifully, and I've got the 10 lots of super glue. This is 3 grams I think, which is tons plenty. So that's good. Now I'm just waiting for the plastic bags, the sealing plastic bags, to be able to put these 10 parts of the kit together.